If you watched my video about weekly spelling tests, you know that what's even more important than that final test is what happens during the week, from Monday through Friday. So today I want to get specific. What does good spelling practice actually look like throughout the week? I'm going to walk you through 4 activities I recommend: sound mapping, dictation, word ladders, and partner spelling games. I'll explain how each one works and show you some examples from my spelling resources. If you're new here, my name is Geiger. I'm the author of Reach All Readers, host of the Reach All Readers podcast, and creator of the Reach All Readers Plus membership. And my job is to help K to 3rd grade teachers bridge the gap between what we know from research and what we do in our classrooms. Before we get into the activities, let's be clear about what we're trying to do. Spelling practice isn't about getting students to memorize a list of words. It's about building orthographic memory, an understanding of why the words are spelled the way they are, a deep understanding of how sounds are represented in print, how spelling patterns work, and how word parts retain their spelling even when pronunciation shifts in different words. Sound mapping is one of the most powerful ways to practice spelling words, and it can also be used when you're introducing the spellings for your words. And here's how it works. Students segment a word into its phonemes and spell each one. So for example, with the word ship, we have 3 phonemes, sh, I, p, and 3 graphemes. The graphemes are the letter or letters that spell each sound. So the graphemes are sh, I, and p. Students write the spelling for each phoneme in a different box or on a different line. This is different from segmenting by letter. Students are thinking about sounds, not just individual letters. So for example, in the word chain, we again have 3 phonemes, ch, a, n, and 3 graphemes, ch, ai, and n. So even though there are 5 letters in the word, we just have 3 graphemes matching up to those 3 phonemes. One thing I like to have students do is actually box the affixes when they're doing sound mapping. So for example, if I give my students the word raining to map, I would want them to have a box for the suffix ing instead of separating it into its 2 sounds, e and ng, because it's really important that students see those affixes as units. I should also note that there are different opinions out there about how to map different parts of words. So for example, the sound R as in car. Some programs will represent the AR as a single phoneme, an R-controlled vowel with the spelling AR, whereas others would separate it out and spell the ah and the on different lines. It doesn't really matter as long as you are consistent. There's also disagreements about what to do with that final silent E as in the word state. So should the E be there next to the final T on the same line? Should it be off to the side? Should it be down at the bottom? Again, it really doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. And by consistent, it really is helpful if the whole school is on the same page, not just a teacher in the classroom. So be consistent in your own instruction, but also work with the other teachers at your school. So if students go on to the next grade, they don't have to learn something new. And especially if they're in intervention, they're not learning something new based on what you're teaching them or what the title teacher is teaching them or what the interventionist is teaching them. With this game, students roll a die, move around a board, another player reads them a word, they map it on their worksheet, and then they can check the spelling by looking at the card that their partner read to them and then fix it if they have a misspelling. So it's not just a testing game, it's a practice with feedback game. Speaking of feedback, dictation is spelling practice with immediate feedback. And that's what makes it so effective. Here's how it works. You prepare a set of words, maybe 6 to 10 words based on the phonics pattern that you've taught. You dictate the words to students, they break them apart into their sounds, and then they spell those sounds on individual lines or in boxes. Then right away, you show the correct spelling, students check their work and correct any errors. They're not waiting until their paper comes home to find out if they did it right. They're finding out right now, getting feedback, and moving on. This is really important. We don't want students to be practicing errors. We want them to learn in the moment. Good dictation practice during the week doesn't have to take long. 5 to 10 minutes is great. A couple of times a week, even better. And of course, I recommend mixing in previously taught patterns so students can practice previous patterns to automaticity. Word ladders are a great way to get students thinking about how spellings within words work. Students start with a word at the bottom of the ladder. On each rung, they write a new word, but they can only change one spelling from the word on the rung below. Sometimes in my word ladders, as students advance through the phonics skills, there may be more than one spelling they have to shift, and that's always noted in the directions. And then we have our partner spelling games. They give students practice with phonics patterns in a low-stakes, engaging format. Students place their pieces on start, take turns drawing a card, naming the picture, and spelling the word on their sheet. After they spell, they should check the answer key. If correct, they color the happy face and roll to move ahead on the board. If incorrect, they stay in their space and write the correct spelling on their sheet. Either way, students are checking their spelling and making corrections. So here's what a week of good spelling instruction might look like. After you've explicitly taught that phonics pattern, you introduce your spelling list. So maybe your spelling list is based on a pattern you taught the previous week or even 2 weeks ago. That's fine, as long as you've explicitly taught that phonics pattern or that morphological word family. You might do some sound mapping on Monday with the list, or maybe look at some particular word meanings that might be tricky for your students. Tuesday and Wednesday, you've got continued practice. More sound mapping, word ladders, partner games, maybe even written word sorts, something else I have in my shop that we didn't talk about in today's video. Thursday would be dictation with immediate feedback, and Friday the test. Every day, students are thinking about how these words work and practicing them with their peers, not just writing them 5 times each or doing isolated practice at home. This is what builds the kind of spelling knowledge that sticks past Friday. If you want ready-to-use resources that will help you build spelling knowledge, you can check out the link below to see my spelling bundle in my shop. You can buy the whole bundle or buy individual pieces that are linked in the product description. But most of all, you're invited to join me for my Spelling Instruction That Sticks workshop. We'll be looking more at what makes English spelling so complex, how to teach it, and how to give these practice opportunities that really make spelling knowledge last. You can join me using the link below this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.